Hello everyone, Mama Mita here, and so today is the day that we are going to be making our first loaf of bread with using the basic loaf of bread setting, okay? And it's a 2-pound bread. It's a white traditional sandwich type of bread, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is. Now remember, I'm using a very old machine. This is my Sunbeam 5833. And it's 24 years old. So I'm encouraging you to go out and buy a used machine first and see how you like it. Don't go and invest in the really expensive brand new ones and stuff. Try getting something that you know that just is a little bit less, more money. This one here, I have 2 of them that are the same. The first one was 14 something that I got from Value Village, and then this one here was $7 and something. And they're both great machines. They've lasted many years and we still use them. And we love to use 2 machines during the holiday season because I can get more bread out because we've got so many family, coming over at Christmas time and Thanksgiving and stuff. So this works great. So let's get started on our first loaf of bread. Okay, so now the first thing you want to make sure that you have is your pan. And you want to make sure that your paddle is in there because it would be a disaster if you did put all this stuff in there and you didn't have a paddle. The machine went for the length of time, and you found out that whoa, something where it was the paddle didn't get. That's never happened to me, thank goodness, but it could. It's easy. So, all right. So you want to make sure that that's down in there, and you want to make sure that you push it down, that it's down there, in the stem, right? Okay, so now my recipe calls for 1 cup of lukewarm water. So there's my 1 cup of lukewarm water. And then I need a 1/3 cup of lukewarm milk. And then I need 3 tablespoons of butter. Okay, now I am using today King Arthur flour. Now I like King Arthur flour, or I like, to use Bob's red mill flour also. He's down in Oregon, and if you ever get down into Portland area, he's not very far from Portland, just south of Portland, and he has a beautiful place. He's right across the street from Killer Bread. Anyway, he's got breakfast there at his place, and you can wander around, spend a lot of time. Plan to spend like at least 2 to 3 hours there because he's got everything in that store. He's got all kinds of flour. He's got books. He's got he's just really into eating healthy. And then he's got his whole restaurant thing there. So oh my goodness, we all love to go to Bob's when we go to Portland. Okay, so then you need 3 3/4 cups of flour. Now I am using bread flour. You do not have to use bread flour. You could use all-purpose flour. And I like to take my bread flour when I'm using, this is my measuring thing, and I love these things. You can buy these offline. They do wear out the black label thing, the writing. It does wear off sometimes. So I have to go back with my Sharpie and remark it. Okay, I like to take it and do this and make sure that my flour is spinned around in the pan pretty evenly, okay? Okay, then that's it, all right? And then it says 3 tablespoons of sugar. So sugar, we got 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now, you need one of these too, okay? Now, when I do the sugar, what I like to do, you see how the sugar is kind of up there the top? I like to take my finger and run it across evenly. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the 3 tablespoons of sugar. And I like to take my sugar and put it in the corner of the pan. Then you need 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now, because I have hypertension and my husband has, you know, a little bit of health issues and stuff, I try not to use as much salt as I can and get away with, you know. So in this case, I'm only going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. And I do the same thing with the sugar. I just level it off with my finger. So there, and I put that in another corner. Okay? Then the next thing you're gonna need is you would need the yeast. Now in the yeast, I use a teaspoon and a half of yeast. And I like to take my finger, I can't lift it up because of the I don't want to mix it with too much in here. I'd like to take my 2 fingers and make like a little whale. And you don't want the whale to touch the water, the milk and the water that's in the bottom. Let me show you that. Hold on just a second. Okay. Can you see how I did that? How I made that little whale? That's where you're gonna put the yeast at. All right, so you put your yeast in there. So let's get the 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. Now, I put my yeast in a little container, a Tupperware container I keep in the refrigerator. And I like to buy the yeast in the bulk at Winco. It's only $3.28. So here we got the 1.5 teaspoon, and I do the same thing like I did with the sugar. In the little well hole. Now, that's all you do. At that point now, we are ready to put the bread bucket, the pan in. Let's go over here. We are ready to put it inside of the machine. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just drop it in. And I put this little thing here to the back. And you're gonna hear it snap. Okay, so let me make sure that's snapped. Yes, okay, so that snapped down. Usually I hear a louder snap. Let me see if I can pull that back, okay. Okay, so there you go, that's the snap. All right, and then at that point, I'm gonna plug up the machine. Okay, you hear the beep? All right, now, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna push 1, and I'm gonna go with 1L, which is 1 light. Kind of hard to see that, okay. All right, that says 1P. I do not want 1P, I want 1L. So now I'm gonna go over here. Can you see that there? And there's a crust color, 1L. Is what it will be now. I don't want 1H. 1L right there. All right. Now, at that point, I'm going to turn it on. And it starts up. Now, I like to watch this machine when it starts up to make sure that my flour, that it actually goes to the center where the paddle is at. Because if you don't, sometimes what happens is the paddle, doesn't get all that flour. And it can happen even with the mixing machine, you know. I want to make sure, and that's where I take my spatula and I work to the side. Like I will just go like this and I will push it towards the middle to make sure that it all gets into the center and gets mixed up. Now it'll start up fast now. And now I don't have to be doing any mixing with, with my hands and kneading, because that's really hard for me because I have arthritis in my hand, especially my left hand. So my thumb is completely separated from the rest of the hand. So for me, that's just really difficult to do. I would have pain afterwards. So now it should be getting ready to start up and go really fast. And it takes about 10 minutes for it to mix it up. Okay, see? Now that's where I want to make sure that I get that and move it away from the wall a little bit so it does get all the flour mixed into it. Don't hit the center because you might move the blade around. And never use metal. Always use the, this stuff here. Now, if I felt that it was really struggling and I felt like maybe I need to add a few drops of water, then I would add a little bit of water. But in this case, it looks great to me. Okay, now that is at 2:51. It will be finished in 2 hours and 51 minutes. So now at that point, I shut my lid down. Now, I do not open my lid anymore. The only time I might open this lid is if the electricity went off, and then you're zapped. Then that's a whole different thing, Okay, thank God that's never happened to me. Yeah, there's always something to go on, I couldn't figure out this morning, why doesn't my tables move? Because I got these, portable tables, or the kids' sewing tables and stuff when they come over and they all sew in the group and everything. But I couldn't figure out why my tables wouldn't move this morning. What's wrong with the tables? I kept looking at the floor. Couldn't figure out something's wrong with the tables. Did he bolt the tables in? No, he bungee corded them at the top so they wouldn't move. Because I had to take the big desk out because the big desk was too much for his legs, because he has stents in his legs, from blood issues and stuff. And so he just can't be sitting at the bar stool that long. So I brought the sewing tables into the kitchen for us to eat at. You need to be flexible at this stage of life. Okay, so there you go. So we'll see you back here with our loaf of bread.